When I started, I thought I didn't need any help. I can do this all by myself. Within 6 months, I found out that there's no way I can do it all by myself. And my wife was telling me that all the time. She's like, Mark, you need to run this like a business.
You have to put process in place. You have to delegate. You have to become a leader, or those people are they're going to leave because there's no direction. Mark, thank you so much for your time today. Really excited for this conversation. I would love it if we could start out by having you introduce yourself and your law firm to our audience.
My name is Mark Nicholson. I am in Indianapolis. I practice criminal defense, personal injury, and civil rights. And I started my firm. I started practicing law in 2009, but I had my own law firm in 2018 is when that started.
Okay. So when you started your firm in 2018, was the plan always to be multi-practice, or did you start with one practice and then as you grew, added them on? Tell us about that.
So first I thought I was going to be basically like a public defender all my life. That's kind of where my passion was. But then there was some issues that came up that made me want to do more, in the sense of I saw some police brutality. I saw some crimes against women being taken advantage of. My timing may not be exactly right, but I feel like there may have been the Me Too movement. It may have been kind of around that time. But there were some injustices that I saw that I could not deal with as a public defender. So that kind of made me say, okay, I want to get out. I want to be able to sue the government, sue these big businesses, things like that, when I saw this kind of injustice. So there was that focus of, I love PD work, I love criminal defense, so I want to do that. But I also want to be able to do civil rights work. And so it was going to be multi-practice. The thing that changed was I was doing family law. So it was criminal defense, family law, personal injury, and then civil rights. Family law, after a while, I found out I really didn't have the stomach for it. It was more difficult to me than criminal law cases. And so I kind of got out of family law. Eventually I ended up hiring an attorney that does family law. And she likes doing that. She likes doing appeals. But I guess the goal always was some form of a multi-practice law firm.
Love it. And how big are you today? How many attorneys?
So I have one attorney that works for me and 3 staff. So that's it. 5 altogether, 5 people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Tell us about.
Sorry to interrupt, but when I started, I thought it was just going to be me. Like I thought I didn't need any help. I can do this all by myself because, I'm a very pretty simple person. I don't have a lot of like expensive stuff or whatever. And I just wanted to just do it by myself. Within 6 months, I found out that there's no way I can do it all by myself. And I hired a college student to help me out. And I thought, okay, just one person. And it kind of grew, and I didn't want to have any policies. I didn't want to have any rules. I just wanted to keep it real easy, real laid back. And then I actually realized, well, when you start getting a lot of calls and a lot of clients, you need to have some systems in place and things like that. I actually lost a worker because she didn't like how laid back it was. And, she's like, I need rules, I need structure. And then and my wife was telling me that all the time. She's like, Mark, you need to run this like a business. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be a business. I just want to be like a lawyer. And she has a master's in HR. She worked at Walmart for 20 years. So, now she's working for IU. So she knows about like policies and all that. And once that happened, I realized, I do need to have things in place and systems in place and things like that. And so now we're at what I feel is a good spot. I may add another attorney, but right now I feel like the workflow is busy, but it's manageable, and I like where we're at right now. So
Love it. Yeah. And that transition from being a solopreneur to adding staff, you have to put process in place. You have to delegate. You have to become a leader, or those people they're going to leave because there's no direction.
Yeah. Yeah, not my greatest point, but I did learn from that, and I did learn from it.
Tell me about that. Like, if you could do it differently, knowing what you know today about becoming a leader or creating process, what's something that our listeners can take away as it relates to making that jump from solo to having a staff?
So one of the things I think, starting off from the issue of your own firm, I started preparing for my firm when I was still at the Appellate Defender, Marion County Appellate Defender Agency here in Indianapolis, and I was creating my own website, and and planning out how I was going to get clients, referrals, all this kind of stuff like that. So I kind of planned that out. What I would do different, what I would suggest people do, is not only just kind of plan out your vision, such as, oh, I'm going to be ad staff, or I'm going to you know jump out of the whatever. If you're working for a law firm, you're going to start your own, but also kind of put some rules, some policies in place, right? That's something I did not do, and I didn't think I needed. But I think to help with today's technology and AI and all that, that it's important to have some processes, some systems in place as you grow your business. And so if you're going to add staff, kind of have some systems in place. Also, it's going to take some courage and a little bit of faith, because you'll never have everything mapped out perfectly. And if you think you do, then something's going to happen. It's going to knock all those plans to the side.
Yeah, 100%. I can totally relate with that. We used to think we had all our systems and processes in place. But we never wrote anything down. We kind of just taught the next person how to do it. And it wasn't until we started writing things down and putting it in a platform that people could access that they really started to adopt the processes. So as you're scaling, don't just assume that people are going to understand what to do. We got to tell them, and we got to show them, and we got to write it down.
Yes. I like that phrase. Tell them, show them, write it down. Yeah.
What if you're always hiring 3 months too late and you don't even know it? By the time you think you need another attorney, the damage is already done. Your team's burned out, cases are piling up, utilization's through the roof, because hiring was never about gut feel. It's about data. Sterling Lawyers built an 80-employee family law firm by forecasting our hires every single month. We're teaching the exact method to predict your next hire in a free webinar. When to start recruiting, what roles to fill each month, and how to protect your profit margins. The link is in the show notes below. Mark, tell us about, over the last few years, how have things gone? What are you looking to achieve with your firm as you continue to scale and grow?
What's kind of really changed for me is I never really anticipated being, I don't know, famous or popular or something. I consider myself a people helper law firm, so I don't have visions of having multiple law offices, being known across the country or other countries, all that. I didn't really have any goal of that, and so that's one reason why I said I started off kind of like the small, and kind of just just was really happy with being able to pay my bills and things like that. Well, I ended up getting a case, and I was really focused on the case, just focused on working the case. And I had no clue that this case was going to be, big, as big as it was, where they end up making a documentary out of the case. They end up
No way.
Yeah. So you may have heard of it. It's called The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. And my client had adopted someone that she thought was a child, and ended up being, an adult. And then there was issues about whether there was neglect and all this. You can Google it. And but anyway, Hulu and Amazon, HBO Max, all of them, they basically made 3 seasons, and they made all these spinoffs, and then they made this like TV movie on Hulu. And through that case, my firm kind of grew, and people were contacting us from and they still do, from around the world. Contact, we get emails and text messages that it put me in a light that I didn't anticipate. I wrote a book, The Law from Prison to the Street, and I'm not, I don't have a master's in fine arts degree or anything like that. But people were asking me questions and, about my background, about, how did you go from, spending 12 years of your life in prison to getting out and being homeless and spending the first 2 years of your life living under a bridge, going to law school. And now you're an attorney, and not just an attorney, but like a really well-known attorney. Uh, and so
Mark, how did we not start with that?
I'm sorry. I thought, yeah,
Story. That's what people are going to want to know.
yes, yeah. So, so I had no, idea that all this was going to play. When I was, in prison, I was charged with murder, convicted of voluntary manslaughter, and spent 12 years of my life in prison. And I knew when I got out, I just didn't want to go back. I just did not want to go back to prison. But I didn't think about being a lawyer or, anything like that. So anyway, and kind of just a short version of it. When I got out, I was homeless. I wanted to find out exactly where I was going to make my mark in the world. Like, what am I going to do? And I knew a little bit about the law because when I was in prison, I did stuff like legal work, and I worked on my own case and did what's called post conviction relief and helped people on death row, all this kind of stuff. So I just went to law school and tried to make my pitch about why I should, go in law school. And they mentioned me taking an LSAT test, and I thought it was a shot. And I was like, well, I haven't had that shot yet, but I will go get a shot for this LSAT shot you're talking about. And they're like, that's not what it is. It's an exam you have to take. So, so I was like, oh, okay. So I ended up taking that. Yeah. And, so anyway, I ended up getting into law school. In the first year of law school, I was voted the class president. Last year, my classmates voted me the graduation speaker. It was, but so I thought that was the achievement. I thought the achievement was me going to law school, graduating. I'm just going to get out here. I'm going to be a public defender because I really want to fight for people and be a people helper lawyer. And then had no clue that I was going to turn into a private practice and have somebody like work for me. And I also teach at the law school as an adjunct professor here at the IU McKinney School of Law. And now I'm like, people are like listening to what I have to say. And so I wrote that book that, The Law from Prison to the Street. It ended up becoming an Amazon bestseller, and it's like, and it was like the very first like book. I mean, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just saying stuff, and people were like really like, wow, it's amazing, it's amazing. And I'm like, oh, now I'm trying to write my memoir because I feel like there are people that really want to know more. And I just saw your facial expressions, and you're like, wow, this is kind of unusual and fascinating. But so that's kind of what changed from the very beginning of me just kind of just trying to make it in the world, like everybody for the most part, just trying to make it, do the right thing, and stay out of trouble. And then it kind of just ballooned into like, hey, you are really doing a good job, and people want to know your story. They want you to represent them. The law school wants you to teach there. It's just you want me to be a guest on your podcast. I mean, my career gets better and better.
Mark, that's unbelievable. I mean, congratulations on your ability to turn your life around, to achieve what you've achieved. It's amazing. You're a testament to so many, and I'm sure so many can learn from your story. So I just appreciate you sharing that with us. I feel like we could do a whole nother episode on just how you were able to overcome that adversity. But I know we're short on time, so I want to just ground us in the fact that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. How were you able to stay focused and get through that period while living on the streets? And it feels like you had kind of this vision in your head that I'm going to do something. And obviously, you're a testament to that now. Was there a through line? Was there a vision? Was there a North Star that you had or that you
So
have that keeps you moving?
So for me, from the very beginning, when I was in eighth grade, I wanted to be in the military. I wanted to lead men in combat. That's kind of what I always wanted to do since the eighth grade. I thought I was going to be a Marine, and then my sister was dating a guy in the Army, and he scared me to go in the Marines. He's like, oh, you got to do a lot of swimming in the Marines, and I'm like, oh, I'm not a great swimmer. He goes, you come to the Army, you don't have to swim. And so I ended up joining the Army, left 8 hours after my high school graduation, got to serve in combat. And so actually, they wanted me to leave before my graduation because when I had the there's a date that you graduate and then there's a graduation. And so I accidentally put in the date I graduated, which was not the date of graduation. And so they wanted to take me earlier and I got it postponed and say, hey, can I at least go to my graduation? So part of that is why I think when I was able to survive prison, I was able to survive living on the street because I had already been battle tested. I mean, I'd been in the military, I'd served in combat. And then also when I was in prison, I ended up, basically turning my life over to God. I actually started when I was in jail. And I believe that my faith, there's just things like, we don't have time to get into, but things that happen that I can't really explain as a natural, occurrence. Like, I'm not so smart that yes, I, am in law school because I'm so brilliant and I'm able to do, there are things and people that help support me that to me seemed like this was from this higher power, from the God, and help me not lose all my marbles and be sane and be able to handle some of the temptation that came because honestly, some of the no, you can't do this was looking me in the mirror, was me saying it to myself, like, man, you're in Indiana, you're black, they're never going to accept, you got a conviction, be in prison, this is never going to happen. And I had to get out of myself and say, I can do this, and then surround myself with good people and mentors that helped me along and guided me, but it was not easy to stay focused. But if you put good people around you and realize there are three things you always have to exercise: your body, mind, and your spirit, it helps you overcome some of the challenges that you face in life.
Mark, I did not think this is where the podcast was going to go today when we started. And I'm so grateful that you opened up and shared this story with us because I'm leaving inspired, and I know our listeners will too. Congratulations on your success, on what you've built. Wishing you only the best as you continue to move forward. I'm with you in that faith is a guiding light and has helped me through lots of things as well. But again, just wish you the best. Really appreciate your time today, sharing your story with us. Looking forward to following your journey.
Thank you very much. It was great being here. It was an honor. And I'm going to tell all my friends to make sure to listen to the Sterling Family Law Show. I
love it.
Yes. Take care and have
Thank you so much.
fantastic weekend.